Hey, what's that sound? You know, the one coming from inside your walls? Well, I don't know what that's all about, but as for the sound coming from this video and playing on a device of sorts, this is JR of the Many Saints of Gabagool. What's on the list for this round? Well, I got another game I have indeed played before. Kinda. I'll explain that bit in a minute. This is another game from my early teen years, 007 NightFire. To start off, I'm not really a fan of James Bond, and thus my knowledge base on this franchise is pretty limited. I've only seen one of the movies. It was Quantum of Solace. It was pretty forgettable. And I always forget this franchise started out as books, so if I get some things wrong, sorry. So why would I cover a game from a franchise I don't really know anything about? Well, ultimately because I can. But even then, this is James Bond we're talking about. Pretty much everybody knows who he is by this point, I think. I mean, the game GoldenEye has a lot of fans, and it's quite possible that a lot of those people who are fans of the game don't really know much about the character or have even seen any of the movies or anything. That's just an assumption, of course, but I'd say it's a safe one. Anyway, as I mentioned before, this one is straight out of my teenage days. Oh man, I remember playing this one a lot with a friend of mine on Splitscreen. Although, before this video, I've never officially completed this game. I've played bits and pieces of it on the PS2, but my main focus was Splitscreen. I didn't give a shit about the campaign. At least not at the time. And going on to another thing that's going to be very prominent throughout this entire video, there are a few different versions of this game. One of those, the Game Boy Advance version, I won't be covering here. The game also came out on PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and PC, with PC differing a fair bit from the console versions. This case isn't as extreme as Spider-Man 3 was, though I'll be switching between the versions when necessary, like I did with that video. Hell, I haven't even played through the PC copy before, making this all a fine mixture of old and new experiences for me. Well, without further ado, here we go.
The Bond's name, James' name. Bond names the James. Bames Non's having a stroke. Call a Bondulance.
We boot up the game and we're greeted by this brief intro, which shows Bond capping some guy, as always. This is followed by a cold opening, which takes place in France on New Year's Eve. Things happen and, okay, I guess this game really wants us to play now. Damn, we don't even stop at the menu first, but then again, we can just do that by simply quitting. It's like those old DVDs or VHS tapes that didn't have any previews on it. They would play the movie right away, although it feels weird having that with a game. I honestly can't think of any other game that does this, so points for being unique, I guess. As one might expect, this is a tutorial level. This one really holds your hand, like more so than any other tutorial I've seen. To make matters a little more odd, a guide to beat this mission is in the very manual for this game. Back then, I found that really weird, and I was arguably worse at games then, so I still found it really pointless all around. Anyway, it just shows us how to aim, shoot, and drive vehicles. Oh great, this game has vehicles, so caution, pain in the ass ahead. Only for me though. To be fair, only the console version has vehicles, and the PC got off scot-free. The PC actually starts at what would be the next level on console, which is a castle in Austria. You see, there's this guy Raphael Drake, some rich asshole, who had some other guy, Alex Mayhew, steal some missile guidance tech, which will be handed over to Drake at a secret meeting that takes place during a party that he's throwing at his castle. And we have to sneak in and confirm such a thing, along with meeting up with a couple undercover agents. And this is where the differences between versions start to become a little more obvious. Largely, this game has the same plot points no matter which version you decide to play, with the level design and graphics being the most blatant differences. With that, we begin by getting our briefing, then arrive by air and land just outside the castle. The game implies we need to use stealth here, but both times I played, going in guns blazing didn't seem to change anything. Alarms would blare, guards would fire at me from all directions, and I would just stumble my way through. Yet the game never punished me for it. I mean, I tried to play it stealthily, but the game itself wasn't having any of that. Okay, as much as that doesn't really make sense in this context, that works for me. Once within the castle grounds, we make it to the party, dress out of our tactical gear and into a tux. We wander around the party a bit.
I'm waiting for someone. Hi. Hi there. Hello. Hi. Hello. Do I know you?
Ugh. This party really is not giving me good vibes. Time to move on. We see Drake deliver a speech in a cutscene and Bond spots one of the undercover agents, Dominique. We come across her in another room in private and... yeah, this is a Bond game, alright. This happens with pretty much every other woman he comes across in this game. Speaking of which, here emerges another undercover agent, Agent Zoe Nightshade of the CIA. Fucking hell, and I thought Blood Rain was a horny game. But then again, I guess we don't have boob physics here. Anyway, we gotta go spy on that meeting now, and shoot through a bunch of bodyguards on the way. Okay, so much for blending in. It's weird that Drake can't hear all this gunfire ring out throughout the castle. We reach a good vantage point to spy on the meeting, and so does Zoe, but she immediately gets caught from her position because she's not as good at being a spy as Bond is. We have to rescue her and escape with the missile tech on a cable car. Although Drake's bodyguard here, Rook, isn't letting us get away so easily and engages us in a helicopter. Of course, I'm the only one who can do anything about it, though the game gives us a rocket launcher here, so that's not bad. After escaping, this is where the two versions branch off again, with the console's next level being a vehicle section. So maybe the PC is better here? Nope, we got another stealth section. And this is one where you absolutely cannot fuck around with it for the first half of the level. Funny thing is, when considering this game for the channel, it didn't click with me that James Bond is a spy, and that would mean I would be engaging in stealth. I'm a fucking idiot. It's still kind of bullshit that stealth is mandatory out of nowhere. Like, what the hell was the first level about? I know it's the first level, and stealthing straight out of the gate of an FPS isn't preferable, but the devs still could have made it an easy one. I don't like when a game gets bipolar with me like that. What's next? Is the game going to gaslight me too? And to cap it all off, the GoldSrc engine wasn't really made for stealth, see? Okay, I'm sorry to do this already, but I've kinda started diverging from the point, so may as well keep it up. There's a few technical bits and bobs about this game I need to make clear right now, so I don't need to trail off too much later on. I promise this is all relevant, I assure you. Although my assurances probably aren't worth dick. Right off the bat, one may notice that this game handles a little weird, as it was a shooter that came out in the early 2000s on consoles, specifically with the control schemes. In this day and age, most shooters on the consoles seem to use a Call of Duty type scheme. I only say Call of Duty because that franchise seemingly helped make these controls a standard, more or less. That's not 100% accurate, but if so, I can see why. While I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan, the default control scheme for those titles handles pretty well. Mostly smooth and not terribly awkward. NightFire came out before all that was a thing. Actually, it came out a year before the first Call of Duty. That means that no control scheme in this game is really all that great. And this game has 8 different schemes. Good lord, is that enough? How do you have that many yet not have one that didn't feel like complete shite to use? How did anyone play this on console back in the day and not feel like throwing their fucking box TV out the window after playing? There's certainly no way to customize anything, so we're stuck with this. I'm stuck with this. Taking that out of the equation, the movement and aiming still feel stiff as hell and it's just all clunky. I used to play this game all the time as a teen. Why didn't I remember this? I guess I was more patient back then. It's definitely nowhere near the worst control setup ever, but it's also not on the top of the list of the best either. So in the footage, if you see me slip up during gameplay, half the time it was me being a smooth brain and getting confused by the controls. That other half is still bullshit though. It also doesn't help that the field of view is low enough that it's for the better to play this version in full screen. Oh sure, the game has a widescreen option, but it's just not worth it here. It just feels too narrow. The game wasn't made specifically for widescreen, just only as an option. Sorry I keep switching it between the two aspect ratios in the footage, but that's the way it's going to be for this one. I'm not trying to make an art house movie or anything, I swear. You're fond of me aspect ratio, ain't ye? The PC version works just fine, but then again, it's running with some fan patches, which all around helps. This game is, of course, abandonware, but it is good to see that it is being maintained by a small group of fans, so that it's less painful to play this game on modern OSs. Though there's still a fair amount of bugs from running this game 20 years later on a modern system. This game runs on the GoldSrc engine, and there's plenty of people out there that know how to work around the engine, which is probably why the fan patches have been made possible. For those unaware, the PC version runs on the same game engine as Half-Life 1, which also happens to be the same engine Counter-Strike Condition Zero runs on. To plug an earlier video I did on this channel, I covered CS Condition Zero a while back, which also happened to be an FPS with some bullshit stealth sections. That all runs on the same engine. It's also worth noting that NightFire on the PC was developed by Gearbox Software, all while they had been developing their version of Condition Zero. In that video, I discussed how Gearbox were developing the CS sequel, but it had gotten canned in mid-2002. Here, NightFire came out in November of 2002. With that, it's no coincidence that both games run on the same engine. Hell, if you've played enough Half-Life or CS 1.6 or even Team Fortress Classic, or just did a lot of mapping on GoldSrc in general, you can tell that it runs on the engine. Sure, there are some tweaks here and there, but how games play and feel on the engine is forever burned into my mind. For some reason though, I can't find any information on what engine the console version runs on. It's something similar, but I don't think it's GoldSrc. It looks somewhat nicer. Somewhat. Hell, I didn't think I had heard of the developers either, Eurocom. They were connected to making James Bond games for a while, but I have indeed played other games from them, such as Ice Age 2, The Meltdown. What the fuck? Well, I remember that game being kind of fun as a kid, and Robots the movie game? Damn, that cuts deep. Never mind the game, I forgot that movie existed. Oh, and apparently when Spider-Man 4 was still a thing, they were slated to develop the Wii version of the movie game. But, for obvious reasons, that never materialized. Man, this episode already has a lot of callbacks from all over the place. My apologies if I lost you along the way, but I kinda lost myself too. My original point is that some of the jank I'm presenting now is old and new for me, all wrapped up in a shitty bundle. This control scheme is going to become a problem going forward, which is exactly why I kept auto-aim on. I still tried my luck aiming on my own sometimes, but I tried not to rely on that. I'll talk about that later though, it's not time yet. And once again, GoldSrc is not an engine that was made for stealth, so I can only hope that's the only frustration factor I'll encounter on this journey. Okay, tirade over. Back to the game, and more pain. For me, that is. Well, maybe for you too, if you're already tired of hearing my voice. That's rough, since I'm only getting started here. If you're annoyed by my voice now, you may as well bail here. Sorry. Back on track. Next we have a vehicle section. but not before a turret section on a vehicle you have no control over. Okay game, you're starting to lose me already, but I suppose I can't bail, so yeehaw. Man, this turret section sucks, since the sensitivity sucks and guys are always shooting at you from everywhere except the damn direction you're facing. Vehicles can pick up body armor though, which is nice. Now we drive a vehicle ourselves, but it's surprisingly not as bad as one would think. Unlike the rest of the game, the vehicle controls are noticeably more smooth and these sections usually don't last too long. Wasn't expecting that, but that makes for a little less pain. This mission was decent. What a twist. Going back to what I was saying earlier, the PC has you stealth around for half a level, and the other half is providing sniper cover for Agent Nightshade. Not once, but 2 times. And during both sniper sections, you've got a squad of guys all over the place shooting at you, or her, or both of us. They're all over the friggin' map. At first, I had a problem keeping myself alive, because Zoe here was taking priority, and the game hardly provides feedback when you take damage, which is just fucking great. Hey Zoe, why don't you pick up a gun from one of the dozen guys I gunned down to protect your worthless ass? And somehow, I didn't get the footage recorded for this level the first time, which meant I had to do that all over again. Moving on. The guy that stole the missile tech for Drake, Mayhew, is scared for his life and strongly suspects Drake is going to tie up all loose ends due to how things turned out at the castle party. He personally requests MI6 to send Bond to meet up with him, and Bond provides protection in exchange for any dirt Mayhew has on Drake, including a plan to supposedly threaten global security, a plan that goes by the codename of NightFire. And there's the name of our game. I'm sure this won't be an important plot point later or anything though. At Mayhew's penthouse, we're ambushed by Drake's men, who all pretty much have the same 1 or 2 alert sounds that play constantly. Man, shut up! I can't get any peace and quiet in this damn penthouse. It's always something. Henchmen, assassins, ninjas, take your pick. Who's next? The feds? Wait, hold on. This place looks nice, but it's so goddamn confusing to navigate. And sadly, that's a lot of this game. You're either always navigating a corporate building that all looks the same, or navigating a Japanese penthouse that all looks the same. Ugh. One of our objectives is that we have to save Mayhew's servants, who, according to himself, are like family to him. Yeah, I'm sure it's great having Japanese servant girls as your only family. No wonder you want them to live. Because there's no mid-level saving on console, I kept having to replay these sections. Sometimes servants would be held hostage in some obscure area of the room and would get capped immediately after I entered said room. It didn't even matter if I knew where they were at. Boom, dead. Take it from the top. This stiff aiming keeps fucking me up too. Well, at least one of the servants is grateful for saving them. We attempt to get Mayhew out of here while we can, and uh-oh, a ninja got him. This ninja doesn't hold up against Bond, naturally. Though our adversary here doesn't show if he's taking damage or not, right up until he drops. Well, looks like Mayhew's dead, but before he died, he handed us a key card that we can now use inside the corporate building of Drake's business, Phoenix International, somewhere in Tokyo. Hell yeah, I'm ready for a B&E. Come on, let's go. Who we robbing? Oh wait, never mind. This isn't the Postal 2 variety of breaking and entering. There is some serious stealth up ahead. As one might expect, this section took me a considerable chunk of time to complete, especially on console. Like I said before, you have no way of saving between levels. Or sections of levels, I should say. That combined with this stealth made this section a slog, pure and simple. Actually, it wasn't always simple. On top of all that, you can't just kill these security guards. You're only allowed to knock them out. And for whatever stupid reason, I can't move any of the bodies. If a guard sees a body, they'll trigger the alarm. And if they so much as see you, they'll sprint right for the alarm. And these bastards are fast. Sure, I have a trank gun, or a trank pen on PC, but I've got limited darts. If I run out of these, I gotta resort to either punching them out or tasing them, which I have to do at point blank range. On console, I played it so cautiously that it felt more like I was navigating a damn minefield. I could become a pile of blood and jibs at any moment. Wait, no, this is a T-rated game. I just die here. Any other game I'd become a pile of blood and jibs. It's still not comforting either way. I gotta go around this office, planting this worm into select computers that allows MI6 to spy on Drake and his operations. Mayhew's former bodyguard, Kiko, is assisting us this entire level, but only through an earpiece. She isn't actually here, which is fine. I didn't want to have to juggle stealth and escorting an NPC all at the same time. Fuck that. This one wasn't as bad on PC. Some of the guard placements are real dickish, but I wouldn't expect anything less from the same company that gave us some incredibly dickish games. Plus, quick saving was my best friend here. It helps keep my sanity in check. For the most part. Oh, but this part on the roof was real bad though. We get a part where we have to scale the outside of the building up towards the top, which doesn't sound so bad on paper. Oh, just you wait till you see it for yourself. In this instance, we have very shitty movement speed and responsiveness, and a varying amount of guards right by these windows. Some of them don't even have a particular pattern on where they walk to next. They just kind of patrol wherever they want, as far as I was able to discern anyway. If they catch you, straight to the alarm and start over. There's also no saving during this point, which equals me having to replay this point again and again. It helps a little that the camera switches to third person, but this part is still incredibly cheap. All the sneaking around and slow movement is murdering any pacing this game had. A painful amount of stealthing later. We plant the worm on all specified computers, and use Mayhew's keycard to get into a room that contains files concerning NightFire. It also has turrets that spring up from almost nowhere. But conveniently enough, Drake had a rocket launcher sitting on his desk that I used to take out the turrets. Upon stealing the files, Drake's henchmen swarm you, so all in all, stealth didn't really matter. So then what the hell was that mission all about? Why'd I do all this sneaking around if the level's just gonna end with me shooting up a bunch of guys anyway? What was the frickin' point? Well, okay. At any rate, it was all a trap, as Dominique comes across us in the stairwell in the middle of us trying to escape. She informs us that Drake isn't letting us get away this time. Except we do. We proceed up to the rooftop, and we just have to shoot a few guys, grab a parachute, and jump off. Mission complete. That's it for the console. But on PC, we have a helicopter fight first. One where the game walks off a rocket launcher until we shoot at this chopper enough with a rifle. This time there was no launcher just sitting on Drake's desk. The game is making us work for it. In a very cheap manner, no less. Gee, this game is so cheap, I think it's on clearance.
We're able to scale the side of that building. Now, I've never actually tested them on a wet surface, but I suspect that you'll be just fine.
Okay, that was a really shitty joke, I'm sorry. This game has been abandonware for a long time, so the joke doesn't really work on a literal level either. Guess I'll just die then. Oh yeah, look at that clipping. Isn't the future wonderful? Well, at least it doesn't do this on a majority of the weapons. Next, after unearthing the data on the NightFire file, Bond makes his way to a shut-down nuclear facility. Apparently, Phoenix was contracted to clean up any remaining nuclear waste from when it was, a nuclear facility, but in reality, they are using the facility for their own nefarious purposes. Ooh, time to investigate. On console, this mission mostly takes place outdoors, and there's multiple buildings to go through. with many snipers to take down. Snipers and the other henchmen weren't as bad, but once again, everything looks the fucking same, dragging out how long it took to complete this mission. The lighting from the sun makes these outdoor areas almost look nice, but that fog and limited render distance on top of these warehouses that all look the same make it all look like ass. Matter of fact, this game looks so inconsistent on console. Some of it looks kinda good, while the rest of it looks kinda bad. Forget that everything looks the fucking same. I don't really like the graphics to this game. Usually I don't really care about graphics as long as the art direction is good enough, but in this case, it is not. Sure, the game arguably looks worse on PC, but its graphics are way more consistent, I'd say. It doesn't look that bad either way. In cases like this one, scaling back on graphics improves map sizes and helps the game flow a little better, which is something I wish developers would realize already. Okay, maybe not just necessarily devs, but publishers too. Maybe just publishers specifically. All I know is having shit like ray tracing graphics really does not matter when your damn game has to throw up a loading screen every 2 minutes. It kinda softens any impact you were trying to go for. Right, I gotta ease up on the tirades. The PC is all indoors, and once again, it all looks the same. Coincidence? No, it isn't. Constant confusion aside, this one didn't take horribly long. Interestingly enough, we have an underwater section, which isn't as bad as it sounds. For me anyway, it helped break up the gameplay a pinch. Navigating the water got tedious enough, though I'm glad we don't see much combat in this section. I'm trying to look for all the silver linings in this, okay? I'm trying. During these underwater sections, we can only use this one weapon that we get with the protective spacesuit we wear, and it's this weird laser rifle. I guess it makes sense for a Bond game, but it's still kinda weird? I don't know, with the way this rifle looks and acts, the game is starting to give me Star Trek Voyager Elite Force vibes. Fuck me, I'd rather be playing that game anyway. And before you know it, it's boss time, with Drake's bodyguard Rook. You know, the one we shot down in that attack chopper early on in the game? No, not that particular chopper fight, the other one, you know. Oh, goody. This boss isn't hard, but it's very awkward. We're trapped in this giant fan room where we can use the fan to platform higher up, to get to Rook. Rook initially didn't move from his platform at the top, which was a pain in the ass to get to. I still can't tell when I'm damaging anyone, so I just kept firing away. Either he has an ungodly amount of hit points, or I was missing way more than the game was letting on. I don't know. Fortunately, he doesn't attack much, and his attacks are easy to dodge, but he does dodge your shots. Christ, can this level go on any longer? No matter what version we're playing, we escape the facility and Kiko comes to the rescue. However, during the cutscene, it is revealed that she has been a spy for Drake this whole time. It can't be! But wait, if she's a double agent, then why didn't she just kill Mayhew herself at his penthouse? When we first arrived, she was giving him a massage. She could have easily snapped his neck or slit his throat or something at that time. Forget that nitpick, I'm not surprised Kiko's a double agent. She had that vibe this entire time. Man, this story really is not saying much, is it? Okay, to be fair, that's to be expected of a 007 game. I know. There's just not enough going for it to be all that interesting. I'm trying my damnedest to keep it interesting, but it's a slog even for me. Trust me on that one. I don't know, Oh, hey, look! This game has multiplayer! Perfect! Just the diversion I needed. So back in the day when I played the hell out of this game, I spent a vast majority of my time in Splitscreen, usually with a friend. Back when I had friends anyway. Now this won't be a thorough look at this game's multiplayer, as there isn't much to say really. Except, holy damn, console has a lot of game modes. I don't remember it having this many. Then again, I guess all that my friend and I played was Deathmatch, or Arena as it's called here. We've got your standard and team deathmatches, Capture the Flag, and King of the Hill. There's also Uplink. the demo for the critically acclaimed 1998 PC game Half-Life. Wait a minute, not that uplink. Nah, the description states you gotta go around a map activating various satellites. Top agent seems to be deathmatch, only if you die, that's it, you're done for the round. And honestly, to me, it just sounds like a lot of these are just remixes of existing game modes. Like Industrial Espionage just sounds like another form of Capture the Flag. Still, this isn't a detailed look, but I thought I should at least go over a little bit of what you get. There's also plenty of characters to choose from, either from this game or other Bond games. Same with some of the maps. At least matches are highly customizable, as you can choose which characters the bots are. Each bot has their own individual stats, such as health and how aggressive they are. Named characters usually have higher health and aggression, while generic ones are the opposite, as you would expect. Some of these characters you have to unlock by reaching certain scores on missions in single player. Yeah, that scorecard at the end of levels has a meaning behind it, surprisingly, but you could just also use cheats to unlock that stuff, so You can also get the match to spawn a certain set of weaponry around the map, ranging from random to a specific set, like just explosives or silent weapons. We also have other match options, like okay, these are some OP RC vehicles we got. We're not fucking around here. The tank kinda sucks to control, but this helicopter gives you way more freedom. And a chain gun. And missiles. Starting to get flashbacks of using RC vehicles in Grand Theft Auto 3 to blow cars up on those side missions. Man, this multiplayer component is more varied than I would have thought. It does suck that the max amount of actual players allowed to play on the PS2 is 4, while on Xbox and GameCube it's 6. But this multiplayer has something to it either way. No wonder I hardly touch single player. That sucks in comparison. Okay, to be fair, it just kinda sucks anyway. Oh, and PC of course allows for 12 players max. Right, then there's the PC, which is rather bare bones in comparison. There's just 3 game modes, deathmatching, both in regular and team flavors. Oh, no wait, excuse me, I guess it's called combat training here. And capture the flag. When it comes to choosing bots, you can only choose which characters the bots play as and their respective difficulty. Even the maps are a bit of a downgrade, as all of them are just a big copy and paste job. Go figure. With that being said though, I actually had a bit of fun taking a look at the multiplayer here, as it was incredibly wonky. For some reason, all bots lag and stutter hard. The matches would play normal, but the bots would jank their way all around the map. For the life of me, I could not figure out the reason why this was happening. I doubted it even then, but I thought maybe it was tied to the frame rate in some way, as I was playing the game at 120 FPS. Probably way higher than this game was meant to run at? Nope, even at 60 FPS they still acted the same. Maybe there was some other setting I needed to dick around with, but the issue wasn't that important to me. Plus, the jankiness of it all kinda made it more entertaining. I mean, literally blowing away brain-dead NPCs with a shotgun had a certain level of satisfaction to it. Or having explosions send these clueless bots across the room gave me a good laugh, not gonna lie. Good shit, though overall multiplayer does kinda blow on the PC. On this platform, you could get a similar, if not better, experience from playing Counter-Strike or Team Fortress Classic even. If you do have an itch to play it and you don't want to play with bots, there are still some servers open. I didn't play any of these myself because I felt like I could just get the idea by playing with bots, but there's nothing stopping you from playing with others. Well, maybe except the fact that these servers are typically empty. At any rate, this game is abandonware, so go for it if you really want to. Aw hell, now that's a throwback. I guess using GameSpy for a game centered around a spy is fitting enough after all. Anyway, where were we? Oh, right, the hot big booba agent is a double agent. There's a lot of them in this game. Don't lose track now. Bond wakes up on the rooftop of Phoenix International, surrounded by Drake and his entourage, including Dominique. Oh my, we're already on the bullshit of recycling levels, huh? Drake knows his big booba agent is a double agent too, and orders for her and Bond to be killed. She ends up plummeting to her death, but we don't get so lucky, so we gotta fight our way out. And I promise, Dominique is definitely dead, as unceremonious as her death scene is. She's not going to pop up a couple more times out of nowhere like Mince. There's no stealth this time around, but on console, these levels are shamelessly recycled from earlier. It's still the same copy-paste corridors and rooms, but even though I've been through these hallways and rooms a few missions ago, I'm still getting lost. On PC, these levels aren't necessarily recycled for the most part, but it's still all just fucking copied and pasted. What I find pretty funny though is that the elevator you start out in gets wrecked to holy hell and back, yet is somehow still fully functional. Kind of. I didn't realize you could chip away at a single elevator with, I don't know, at least a half a dozen rockets. It's still just able to work just fine. Well, like I said, sort of. Also, curiously enough, on my PC playthrough, OBS just kind of stopped recording partway through in this section. For, some reason. I would be worried about this, however, it's still all the same crap, over and over and over again. You're not missing anything I haven't already talked about, the copy-paste and whatnot. Several minutes of frustration and tedium later, we make it back down to the lobby, where we are pinned down until another big booba agent, Allure McCall, comes and rescues us by car. Gee, that plot convenience came just in time. Whew. Oh, and more importantly, who the hell is this? Is she a double agent too? For a story that says nothing, there sure is an abundance of characters, particularly women wearing fairly revealing outfits. I'm growing kinda tired of this theme, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I'm growing kinda tired of this game. Alright, enough of that, let's just get out of here.
Whoa.
Good lord, that cutscene is deep fried. As it turns out, for whatever reason, once again, the cutscenes on PC are hideously compressed, so much so that the cutscenes themselves sometimes lag. At first I thought the lag was from the game itself for any given reason once again, but no, I checked the video files. The lag is stamped directly into these cutscenes. I know disk space was limited back then, but damn, was it really that dire? I mean, maybe it's the copy I downloaded? I don't know. The console version's cutscenes, both in-game and pre-rendered ones, don't look nearly this terrible. Whatever the case may be, it makes following the story in between missions a little more difficult. The compression is just too damn distracting. On the bright side, the story sucks, so it doesn't really matter that much. After escaping, we have a split between versions again as far as the next level goes. The bottom line is, we gotta infiltrate an island that's owned by Drake, or something like that, as it contains rockets that are linked to NightFire in some way. Typical Bond stuff. Starting out with the PS2, we have a stealth vehicle level. A stealth vehicle level. You've gotta be fucking kidding me. Well, the game sure isn't, as we have to navigate Bond's Aston Martin through the water that's just within range of the island. Because, his car conveniently converts into a submarine as well, because he's James fucking Bond. And this is just how these things work. I don't know, I wouldn't be asking questions at this point, you may as well just follow along as it goes. Okay, I lied. The stealth doesn't last that long, since you could just immediately take out the comms unit that was preventing you from going in guns blazing to begin with. I guess underwater, no one can hear you call for backup. From here, what are we going to encounter? Some deep-sea cryptids? Like those weird squids you see when you reach the crushing depths of the ocean? I wish. Nah, instead there's just enemy submarines, which are a joke, and there's gates that block your way that we have to use guided missiles from our car to destroy the energy source for. Then, a little while later, there's mines, and too goddamn many of them at that. The only way they can go off is if you touch them, but they can come up on you out of nowhere, as if you're an explosives magnet. When the hell did the mines start playing stealthily? Nothing but pain. Add on top of that, there's no mid-level saving, so I had to do this one again and again. I know there's save states since I'm playing on an emulator, but of course, I couldn't get them to work when I needed them the most. Next, we chase down an enemy sub, destroy that one and several more, plant mines on underwater rockets or other subs, and get blown to pieces by a boss sub. Okay, let's do this again. Nope, I get my shit pushed in. Again! This boss sub has missiles that can take you out in 2 shots. How the hell am I supposed to do this if this bastard can murder me just like that? I can only maneuver and dodge these missiles so much before they inevitably blast me into a billion pieces. Okay, I did something that isn't much of a gamer move here. I admit, I cheated and moved on to the next level. I'm sorry guys, but this has already gone on for a while, and this game just is not worth it. Next up on the chopping block is another vehicle level. Hooray! We get this Jeep with missiles and machine guns and Kevlar armor that somehow works on a car. Okay. That's not enough though, as the objective for this mission is that there are these turrets that are placed around the map that we have to take out in order to progress. But once you get within range of these turrets, they can drain your health in no time. Come on, are we really doing this once again? Fuck this, I'm cheating again to get to the next level. This game is really starting to push me. Okay, looks like we're on foot again in another stealth level. Except not, it seems. Well, we gotta follow Kiko, but Allure won't shut up about where Kiko is going. Okay, this isn't great, but I guess it's more bearable than the last couple missions. Alright, I gotta destroy these panels in this room here, but how? I clearly have to destroy these, I think. I think this is what the game wants me to do. Well, shooting them does nothing. What if I use my laser watch here and... Oh. Right. And with that, that's my review of the console version of this game. It has some notable things about it, like the multiplayer and some fun gameplay. Overall, it's just not one that holds up for me personally. It could very well be that I have been spoiled by other FPSs, as I've played many better ones since I first played NightFire all those years ago. Well, and I'm bad at video games, that much is certain. However, this one was just too frustrating and clunky for me to endure. I've had enough. And to touch a little more on something I brought up earlier, what wasn't helping the entire way through was headshots sure do matter in this game. If you shoot at enemies in the torso, for the most part, they will just tank the hell out of your shots. That's why sometimes I tried to manually aim just to drop some guys quick, but it was never smooth. I'm still using this funky controller aiming. The tankiness of enemies also applies to the PC, but I have mouse look there. It makes it barely tolerable. Damn it, I just couldn't do it. I wouldn't normally do something like this with games, but we still got the PC version. That'll do the trick. At any rate, we're almost done with this damn game. Going right back to PC, and staying there for that matter, we skip straight to already being on the island. Although between the end cutscene from the last mission and starting this mission, Allure was captured. No transition here or anything, she's just suddenly being kept prisoner. Up ahead is just more of the same, infiltrating this island base, shooting at generic goons, and getting lost. While we wander the base, looking at the same environments and shooting the same thugs several times over, this game has music, doesn't it? Yeah, there isn't much to say here. That's kind of why I stalled so long talking about it. Outside of the snippets of the Bond theme that you hear every so often, the rest of the music is considerably bland. I mean, it's competent enough, but anything that sticks out? For the most part, no. The main theme of the game, an original song by the title of Nearly Civilized, is okay. It's certainly better than most of the music, but a portion of it plays whenever you boot up the game, so it gets kinda old pretty quick. And apparently while I was researching this game, apparently this song was made specifically for the game, and this is the first time that's ever been done for a Bond game. I don't know, I guess that's just a fun fact. Yep, the music is nothing special, really. I kept it off for a majority of my playthroughs, since keeping it on just got annoying. It did that thing where it just loops over and over again while you play, and hearing it loop while hopelessly lost or struggling to take down these bastards was driving me insane. Back to the story.
Okay, that was a thing.
As I was saying, back to the story, if you want to call it that, it's more of the same, if you hadn't gathered that by now. I don't think I talked about that enough, though. Shoot this, disable that, so on and so on. We rescue Allura after a time, who immediately takes the sniper rifle that was just on this table, and I was trying to pick up that sniper rifle just a minute before. Damn it, Allura, I wanted that sniper!
In which you said, it's not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No.
It's too bad that this jungle environment is bland too, as this would have been a great opportunity to make this map more vibrant. We don't get that though, so instead it's just more hallways and washed out jungles. I also keep getting shot from all sides, and I can't tell where the shots are coming from because this game doesn't give you any fucking feedback when you get hit. Oh, hold on, your aim twitches upward slightly? That's it? I'm getting shot from all possible directions while explosions from grenades flying over rock the terrain and reloading stopped working correctly for me for a second, I think. Right, it gives you feedback when you die. Sure, my shots from long range don't often land, but these goons are hitting me just fine. I'm aiming right at him. Why aren't my shots hitting? Ah! Huh, I guess bodies don't fade out in this game. Instead, they get dragged down into the fiery pits of hell, apparently. Man, this game took a theological turn real quick. After some jungle wandering and Allura sometimes following us despite this part not being an NPC escort section, fortunately, we have to blow up this bridge with explosives that automatically get placed as I run by the supports. Can't argue with that. This next level almost seems like a stealth mission, but it really isn't. That doesn't stop guys from pulling the alarm constantly, or the alarm going off when I enter a room with a camera anyway. Gee, it sure is funny how the cameras can suddenly spot me from a mile away. Well, at least it doesn't matter now. But as a consequence, these alarms cause these tough bastards to storm out of security barracks. This would normally be a problem, but these guys drop this chain gun weapon that I can decimate rooms full of guys with. I can only do such a thing because the magazine size is 100 rounds, as the accuracy and damage is a complete joke. Well, it sure is a good thing I could just spit lead at them constantly, and ammo for it is everywhere since I just keep spawning these guys. There's also lockers in these security rooms that I can break into, and usually they contain armor, or another weapon, or ammo. It's always full of useful shit. Okay, sorry again, but before we reach the end, I've got one more little thing to point out, speaking of armor. Just an observation. In this game, your health is armor, which isn't unusual necessarily. This probably explains why you can tank so much damage, or why I hardly get any feedback from getting shot. Whereas the console copy, you have a health bar, but there are no health pickups in the game. You can never heal. Instead, you gotta pick up armor to keep your health from depleting, and fortunately, this game has plenty of armor pickups. Although it would have helped me a time or a dozen to be able to replenish health. Okay, once again, back to it. Clearing out these hangars and hallways with this chain gun feels a little satisfying, not gonna lie. Because I was paying minimal attention to the story before, this is where I find out that, well, I guess all NightFire really turned out to be was just a plan to nuke various places around the world, what with all these missiles just lying around, and the fact that we have to get photo evidence of a blueprint of Drake's, space station that just kinda came into being now. We disable more of Drake's arsenal, all the while giving chase. We finally reach the launch chamber of these shuttles, where we have to escape the blast pit. God damn it, I keep getting Half-Life flashbacks now. First it's Uplink, now it's Blast Pit. And the game's shotgun looks just like the shotgun from Half-Life when HD models are turned on. To be fair, it's all the same gun, a SPAS 12. And both were made by Gearbox, so it makes sense. Although NightFire's shotgun doesn't have the useful double shot ability, just the ability to switch between semi-auto and pump action, which I like anyway. So as it turns out, during this section, we gotta duck into one of these security rooms when a shuttle launches off, indicated by the countdown. At one point, I quick saved just as the countdown began, didn't realize what I had to do, and I got properly liquefied. This took me a couple tries to get past. After we're absolutely blinded by the shuttle launch, we're suddenly outside the security room, with a pair of ninjas attacking us. What, no transition there or anything? Maybe these ninjas are just that elusive, or something. At first I thought we had to clip these guys, but they were just kicking my ass, and I still can't tell when I'm damaging them. After taking so many flashbangs, I just decided to drop down one of these briefcase turrets, which was a sufficient enough distraction. What I'm supposed to do is take cover in the security room again, as I started to hear the countdown going as I was battling these guys. Thankfully, the ninjas didn't follow me in and they get vaporized. Ah, not so elusive now, huh? Can't be a cunning warrior if you're dead. Oh, yeah, Kiko's here, and she was taunting us while we fought the ninjas, but I couldn't hear a damn thing she was saying. I wasn't paying close enough attention. We give chase to her, so that must mean it's time for a boss fight. It's about time. I've been waiting to take her down. She's just been annoying all throughout. Oh, no, we get a cutscene where Bond steals one of these shuttles and Kiko gets atomized. Damn, I was hoping we'd fight her ourselves, but, oh well. She's dead, and we're on the verge of the final boss.
James, I'm losing your signal. Are you alright?
I suppose I'm rising to the occasion.
Fuck you. We make it to Drake's space station, where we're back in that spacesuit with that laser rifle. But this time we get some zero-G airtime, along with some jetpack action. Yeah, this is the only time in the game this jetpack is ever brought up, and it's only brought up in the game's objective tab. We have to fuel it up at these stations, which gives us only 3 chances to launch ourselves before we have to refuel again. Not only is this jetpack kinda ass to use, but it really isn't much of an actual jetpack. It's more of a booster pack. From a gameplay perspective, it holds more resemblance to the Dark Troopers booster pack from the classic Star Wars Battlefront games. That pack allows you to rocket yourself around the arena, being able to cover a great distance with it. Definitely more useful and less clunky to use there. But we're stuck with this booster pack, and we gotta use it for this part where we disarm a few missiles. We got 5 minutes, 4 missiles, and a few goons spread out across the arena, infinitely spawning in, but not at a fast rate. With these missiles, first we gotta open up the defuse panel. Next, blast ourselves up to the defuse panel. Flip one of the levers, flip the other lever once the first is all the way down, and press the defuse button. I swear, sometimes my few brain cells purposefully blank out certain details in my brain, since at first I didn't realize I had to press defuse. I thought I just had to flip the levers, causing a few minutes of confusion as to why nothing was happening and the timer continued to tick down. Well, it took me a few tries, but I got there eventually. This damn jetpack is more of a nuisance than anything. But because I played this section enough, I got somewhat used to it. Enough to do the whole thing right this time. Still a pain in the ass because the refueling station in this arena is below the missiles, meaning you gotta waste a bit of fuel just to blast back up to where you need to be. Game design. Finally, we reach Drake for the final confrontation. This fight is more or less like the fight for Rook from earlier, except Drake here is a little more wonky. He has a shitload of HP, but it's still not that hard. Though at one point he used the laser rifle secondary fire, a supercharged shot, that sent me flying and zapped me of more than half my health. Shit! But immediately after, he got stuck in one spot and would not move. I didn't disable his jetpack or anything, he really is just stuck. After almost 2 minutes of grinding him down and nearly dying myself, the station begins to self-destruct, as I guess the missiles we disabled a few minutes ago are going off or something. We gotta make it to an escape pod, which I had trouble finding at first. The timer counts down, but I make it to a pod right as the game was about to kill me. You can even see here on the fade out that the game was in the middle of killing me, but the game also registered that I completed the level, so I guess I completed the level. By the skin of his nuts, Bond escapes, and the station explodes. The end cutscene takes place inside the Aston Martin somewhere, where Allura and Bond are celebrating. He decides to take a few days off, as the both of them lower their car seats to engage in some good old vehicular coitus. The screen fades to the credits just as the porno is about to begin. Damn it. That's fine. These cutscenes are so low quality that I feel like if we got to see this sex and graphic detail, it's going to be like surfing a porn channel in the pre-internet times. There might be a boob here and there, but nobody really knows for sure. And that's NightFire. Well, that wasn't particularly satisfying, but I suppose I wasn't expecting much else. That's this whole game, though. Not really one that'll make you feel good to play by the end of the day. It wasn't hard necessarily, it just had so many quirks to it that made the overall experience frustrating for me. Still, I think I just have it too good with the many other FPSs I've played in the years following this game. This one doesn't really jump out, even if you take away 007 from the equation. I can't even say I like it out of nostalgia, as I didn't feel any sort of nostalgic connection the entire time I played through the game. It was too annoying of a game to feel that at any point. In conclusion, meh. There are many other shooters out there I could have played instead. I mean, I can say I've played through this game now, a little over a decade later, though that's all I got. Well, if it means anything to anyone, I found it more engaging than Halo. That's it for this installment. Stay tuned for another game I've never played before, so I can only hope that doesn't mean there's more frustration ahead. One can only hope. Just as one last little tidbit before I go, during my time recording footage for the console's multiplayer, I had the weapon set to random and I chose this missile silo for the map. The starting weapon for all characters ended up being satchel charges. What I didn't realize until I actually started a match was this was a recipe for disaster. For the bots anyway. It was actually a good demonstration of how utterly clueless the AI bots are in multiplayer. See? Sometimes they would get a hold of an actual gun, but damn, I really wasn't expecting the AI to be this brain dead. This is beautiful. Amazing, it's just like poetry.